All right, so we went over some of the Shadows over Innistrad remastered cards that I think are gonna have some sort of playability or impact. Here are some of the cards from Explorer Anthologies 2 that I would either like to see or I think Wizards is gonna put in. And I think this comprehensive it's not a comprehensive list, but I think it's gonna be cards that are gonna be in, or quite possibly are gonna be in, that are not gonna be from sets before like Battle for Zendikar and before. It's gonna be like Magic Origins, Return to Ravnica, and like yeah, that's why people were talking about it. It wasn't even from Fire Shoes. He somebody else did it before he did. So, but I guess since this is going to be a very, very short, I'm not even going to talk about the cards really. I guess we can go into that a little bit, which also might actually skewer some Explorer Anthology stuff. So there's a BNR announcement on Monday, this coming Monday. And it's actually one of those unprecedented, it's not unprecedented, but it wasn't talked about. Typically Wizards gives like an inkling. They're like, we may have, an announcement, but they didn't say anything as in like, hey, it might be modern. Hey, it might be this. It was just data mined as in like somebody looked at the page and it was like, it's not an updated version and you're not authorized to look at it. So everybody in the social media sphere and Twitter, Reddit, and all that are just like posting incessantly about what's going to be in it. Because it quite possibly could be everything as far back as Legacy all the way down to Standard. But I think it's going to be mostly Pioneer. I don't think anything else is getting touched, especially Standard. I don't think Standard is getting touched. I think it's going to be at least Pioneer. Because, like, Legacy, who plays Legacy? It's not even part of RCQ season. Like, come on. It's probably going to be Modern and Pioneer. And so I'm going to give two, so here's going to be what I want to happen and what I think is going to happen. So what I want to happen from top to bottom. Okay, so Legacy, I don't really care. What I want to happen in Legacy is they ban the whole damn format. Because the format's a damn joke. Because everything they add from Secret Layers, Transformers, Lord of the Rings, and all that, and some of the Xfinity cards, like, stop it. All right, that format is almost fucking historic. Where just made-up cards are allowed to be in it. Stop it. All right, ban the whole damn format. Instead, what I want to happen there is they actually start banning the blue cards because they banned everything but the blue cards. All right, Brainstorm, Force of Will, like all these Days, like all these cards that make Delver so good, and why everybody thinks Delver is actually good. The only reason why Delver is good is because of all the free interaction that it has, where you have 7 cards in hand with Delver on the battlefield and 1 island or 2 lands, and you basically can play every one of your spells in your hand and not have any lands in play. Like, whereas when you're playing Standard and Delver flips and they just go, Flame Blessed Bolt, you're a Delver, it dies. Yeah, that doesn't happen in Legacy. Legacy, it's like Lightning Bolt, your Delver. Force of Will. I Force of Will, your Force of Will. I Force and Negation, your Force of Will. I Daze. I Spell Pierce. Like, this is all the stuff they have, and they have like 7 cards in hand. It's ridiculous. All right. Modern, I don't play Modern. Okay, so this doesn't really matter. And technically, I don't play Pioneer either, but I play a lot of, I pay attention to the format and I listen to people that actually play it. And I play a lot of Explorer. But for Modern, what I want to happen is, like, I understand that there's I understand that Modern Horizons 2 cards are not going to see the X. Like, let's face it. They're not banning Ragavan. It's not happening. All right? They didn't make these cards just to ban them. So, what I want to happen, and really I think all of them, I think really that the companions need to go. Yorion, Gigantha, all these companions need to go. Just take the companion mechanic and throw it in the trash can. It was cool when you made it. It was really cool when it was spoiled. It was awesome. But for the love of all that is good and holy, just get rid of them. All of them. Ban them all and just assume, finally admit that they were a mistake. Okay? Maybe not all of them. Maybe just a couple. Yorion and Luris. Okay? But good God, just ban all of them. All right? They're too good. Especially Yorion and Luris. Finally. All right? And I would just go find somebody that plays Modern a lot and ask them what the format should be, because the majority of them are like, what are they going to ban? Because other than Money Pile, I have no idea what's good. Because like all I hear about is Money Pile, Hammer, and Murktide. That's it. Those are the decks that are like by far and away the best. And it's not close. Maybe there's some other stuff, but no one talks about anything else. Now, and really Modern, I don't care. All right. Pioneer, what do I want to happen? I want them to unban stuff. I hate bans. I really do. What I want to happen is I want Nykthos to be gone. It's ran its course. The deck is absurd. It has no bad matchups. All right. And the reason why I say it has no bad matchups is because the bad matchups that it could have, right, is the deck that basically keeps all the other decks out of line. That's Rakdos. All of the fast decks that kept all the combo decks in check, like Boros and Spirits and many other decks, Rakdos just, you can't, there is no sideboard plan that you can to beat Rakdos. There isn't. Their whole deck is removal. Everything is all removal. Don't believe me? Fatal Push, Dreadbore, Bone Crusher Giant, Liliana, Chandra, like, that's 20 cards, right? Oh, by the way, Fable plus Bloodthirst Harvester, is also removal. All right, so banning Nykthos. If you only ban Nykthos, right? I think if you ban Nykthos and you basically make mono green not a deck anymore, because that's basically what you've done, all right? Then you also have to ban something from Rakdos, because that deck is too good now, right? There are only 2 cards that warrant a ban in that deck. And one of them, I guarantee you they're not banning. That's Fable. They're not banning Fable. It's not happening. All right? So, if you're not banning Fable, there's only one other card that warrants a ban. That's Thoughtseize. Will they ban Thoughtseize? Probably not. Those are the only 2 cards in the deck. That's it. What else are you going to ban? You're not banning Liliana, because you just put it in the format. You're not banning Graveyard Trespasser. You're not banning Push. You're not banning Dreadbore. What else can you ban? Because all the other cards are just good. They're not oppressive. The only 2 oppressive cards in the deck are Fable, and it's not really that oppressive, and Thoughtseize. My contention of what I want is if you either ban Thoughtseize or you unban Expressive Iteration, which was a mistake to begin with, I think, in my opinion. Because if you don't ban Thoughtseize, all right, then you give the rest of the format something to do about Thoughtseize, to make something. All right. Thoughtseize, I think, is more of a modern card. And WotC even admitted that putting it in Theros was a mistake, reprinting it in hindsight. They actually admitted it. I don't know where it is, but they actually admitted that was a mistake. So if you really admit that it was a mistake, then get rid of it. Because not only does it give Rakdos, does it hinder Rakdos in not having turn 1 take your best card, but it also stops Greasefang from having take your best removal spell or your graveyard hate against me. Then they either have to play less efficient removal or they have to play Duress, which doesn't hit, like, Duress doesn't hit Scavenging Ooze, right? I think banning Thoughtseize should be on the table. If you ban Nykthos. If you don't ban Nykthos, you can't ban Thoughtseize. All right. What I want to happen is I don't really care if they ban Nykthos because I think Nykthos is getting the X. Are you going to ban? You basically have to either ban something from the format that gives the black decks like an edge, or you unban cards that give Rakdos fits. There are 2 cards that give Rakdos fits because it's a mid-range deck. You know, there's one of them I already mentioned, which is Expressive Iteration. The other one is Field of the Dead. If you don't ban Thoughtseize, which I can understand why you wouldn't, then you have to give something to somebody to level the playing field out. And I'm pretty sure that nobody wants Field to come back. I do. Because if you're going to allow Greasefang, if you're dying on turn 3, turn 4, Field doesn't matter. Right? So I think banning Thoughtseize is probably that's what I want. I don't think they're going to do it. I think what they're going to do is they're just going to ban Nykthos, and that's it. Seriously. That's just it. They're just going to ban Nykthos. And they're probably just going to see what's going to happen. Because I have no idea what decks that are good against Rakdos that have a bad mono green matchup, because I don't know. I imagine the control decks maybe, but blue-white I don't think blue-white had a very good matchup against Rakdos. So standard, I really don't care. Because there are a lot of things that have issues. The black decks are good, but Brothers War is coming in like a month. So I think you just wait until that set releases and then make an assessment after, because we're getting the rest of the lands and artifacts, and it might shake up a bunch of stuff. So I would just wait and ban nothing. So really Pioneer, I think, is really what this ban and restricted announcement is for, because of the RCQ seasons and worlds and all that. And I think Pioneer is like a big push that, and maybe Modern too. So like nobody really cares about Legacy or Vintage. Nobody cares about that shit. And Standard, meh. It's really, I think, really Modern. You're gonna see Modern something. And no, Splinter Twin is not getting unbanned. All right, stop it. All right, that card shot up like $5. It's like at $8, and the foil is like $75. And TCG and I think SCG are sold out. That card's not getting unbanned. Stop it. All right. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure Splinter Twin's not getting unbanned. Is whatever. But I think Pioneer is what's really going to be the focus. And really that's the answer. Like Nykthos, I'm fairly confident that I can say Nykthos is getting the X. The question is what are you going to ban or unban after? But I can really see them just banning Nykthos and that's it. And then they're going to see, like, is there any deck? Because really, outside of mono green, that leaves Rakdos by itself. However, if you know that's what it is, can you build a deck that fights that. Where you just play just go over the top. Problem is that Rakdos they're a bunch of 2-for-1s. And we don't have, Expressive Iteration or any other cards that kind of get us over the hump. Right? So, what do I want to happen? Nykthos and Thoughtseize. And I'm a Thoughtseize player myself, so I don't really care. You either give me something, you either take away the best card that all the black decks have that really shouldn't have been in Pioneer or really shouldn't have been in Theros to begin with, or you unban stuff. What do you do? All right. But this is now the bans and the release of Explorer Anthologies 2 is really going to hinge on how Explorer is going to be, because the bans not really going to affect anything unless they ban Thoughtseize. And if they ban Thoughtseize, that really shakes up the metagame. You might not think so, but it does. Because the two best decks in Explorer, my opinion, are Rakdos and Greasefang. All right. And Thoughtseize is the best card in Greasefang, not named Greasefang. All right. Now, what they could do is I could see a world where they go ban Nykthos, Greasefang, Fable. I could see a world like that, right? I think that's bad. I would much rather ban as least amount of cards as possible. So it really depends. But what I want to happen is Nykthos and Thoughtseize, and this strategically hits all the good decks, and an Explorer too. But in Explorer, if they ban Thoughtseize, that means that it also hits Explorer too. And that means Rakdos and Greasefang get hit. Right? If that happens, the meta is going to change a lot. If it doesn't, and Thoughtseize is still in, then those two decks stay on top anyway. And the majority of the cards I'm going to name here don't mean shit. So what do I want to be in Explorer Anthologies 2? Well, Explorer Anthologies, they said previously that they're going to put an emphasis on putting staples along with fan favorites off the beaten path. And I called Siege Rhino. Siege Rhino was their, when they describe off the beaten path fan favorite, Siege Rhino was the first card I thought of. Go back and look at my first review video of that was the first card that I said, I don't know what they're going to do, but I guarantee you this is in it. All right. What's another card? Well, let's go through them. All right. What's the first card? Baki already got it. JVP. Jace Vryn's Prodigy. 1 blue, 1 colorless. Legendary Human Wizard. 0/2. Tap. Draw a card, then discard a card. If there are 5 or more cards in your graveyard, exile Jace. Then return him to the battlefield transformed into his true form. What's his true form, you ask? His true form is Jace Telepath Unbound. Jace turns into a Planeswalker. He exiles and flips, right? Yeah, he exiles, then flips. Into Jace with 5 loyalty, +1. Target creature gets -2, -0 until end of turn, or until your next turn, +1. -3, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. If that card would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. -9, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, target opponent puts the top 5 cards of his or her library into the graveyard. So, Jace was at one point was $100. Started off at $20, climbed all the way to $100 in standard. At one point, that deck that was playing Jace was at one point like 850. And Jace was at, I think the highest it was ever at was like 125. Yeah, now it's like $20 again, I think. It climbed a little bit when people were talking about Frontier for like 5 minutes. And then it dropped back down to like $15. And then when when Pioneer was announced, Jace like jumped up to like $30. I think it's still at like $20. But Jace, and actually I have all of them, as in all the flip walkers from Origins. I put them in this, as in I cheated a little bit, as in a lot of the cycles is what I put in this EA2, because they're fan favorites. They all saw play minus Chandra, I think. And I guarantee you they will all see play again if they're in the drop, especially Jace, Nissa, and Liliana. And actually Kytheon too, because mono white is a deck. So, hell, I even think Liliana might see play too. But we're going to go through all those. But Jace, definitely. You put Jace in there, I'm playing it. Like, no question. This was like one of my favorite cards in a long time. But yeah, Jace is like my favorite planeswalker. Like the character, not like all the cards, just the character himself. Because the lore on him is like really cool. Oh, hell no. So the first 5 are all of the flip walkers. Liliana Heretic, Heretic Healer, 2 black, 1 colorless, 2/3 Human Cleric, Lifelink. When another non-token creature you control dies, exile Liliana, return her to the battlefield, transform her under your control. If you do, create a black 2/2 black creature token. So essentially, if a creature dies during your turn, you flip her and you get a 2/2 black zombie. What happens when you flip her? She becomes Liliana Defiant Necromancer. 3-starring loyalty, +2. Each player discards a card. -X, return target non-legendary creature card with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. -8, you get an emblem with whenever a creature dies, return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. The alt is better, in my opinion, than Liliana the Last Hope. The problem is, in Standard, was getting her to flip. I don't think that's going to be hard in this format. Because you got 2 decks that this goes in, Rakdos Midrange and Rakdos Sacrifice, and it's really easy to get that to happen, right? And it says what you control. So you could take somebody's stuff, with, claim the firstborn, sacrifice it, and it flips. You got Deadly Dispute, all that stuff, right? So getting her to flip is easy. And this card is scary. Like, might possibly be better, sort of, little better than Liliana the Veil. But, yeah, Maestros Ascendancy, yeah. Now, when you add these, Jace, Liliana, whoops, not Treasure Cruise. I did not mean to make that Treasure Cruise. No, fucker. All right, there we go. Chandra, Nissa, and Kytheon. They're gonna see play in all those formats, Explorer and Historic. Yeah, this card's scary. The front half and the back. Chandra too. 2 red, 1 colorless, legendary human shaman. 2/2 When you cast a red spell, untap Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh. Tap Chandra, tap Chandra deals 1 damage to target player. If Chandra has dealt 3 or more damage this turn, exile her. Then return her to the battlefield, transform under opponent's control. Now, notice this says if Chandra dealt 3 damage, 3 or more damage. Doesn't say combat damage. It doesn't say, non-combat. Just says damage. Okay? So you can play her on 2, attack, or play 3 spells, or make her a 3/3, or have Torbrand, tap her, deal 3 damage. And then she flips into Chandra Roaring Flame. Chandra, Pyromancer Extraordinaire. 4 loyalty, +1. Chandra Roaring Flame deals 2 damage to target player. -2, Chandra deals 2 damage to target creature. -7, she deals 6 damage to each opponent. Each player dealt damage this way gets an emblem. At the beginning of your upkeep, this emblem deals 3 damage to you. Good God. This one takes a little bit longer to ult, but that 2 damage ain't no joke, man. And if we still have, the stupid, God, I can't think of the name. Companions. This is a 3. Obosh. Hello. This one saw I think Chandra saw the least amount of play. Or was it Liliana? It was one of these two. Because like Chandra was taking up slots for like Exquisite Firecraft and Hordling Outburst and like there were so many 3s. Like, this is the hardest to get online because it's a 2/2 for 3, so it's already annoying. Like, this dies to like literally everything. And it was really, really hard to get her going. I think this was the worst one. Because it's a 2/2, not a 2/3. But if you ever got her to flip, good lord. Nissa Vastwood Seer, 2 colorless, 1 green. Elf Scout 2/2. When Nissa enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a forest, a basic forest, reveal it, put it in your hand. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, if it was 7 or if you control 7 or more lands, exile Nissa and then return to the battlefield flipped. Into Nissa Sage Animist. So 3-star in loyalty, +1, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. So if it's a land, put it into play. If it's a creature, spell, whatever, put it in your hand so it's a draw. -2, create a 4/4 legendary green elemental creature token named Ashaya, the Awoken World, onto the battlefield. -7, untap up to 6 lands, 6 target lands. They become 6/6 elemental creatures. They're still lands. This card saw a lot of play because it was easy to flip and it was good no matter when you played it. It was good on 2, it was good on 3, good on 4. It ensured your next land drop, and if it was your 7th land on turn 7, getting a 4/4 immediately was a big deal. Because not very many things killed 4 toughness back then. You had to spend a lot of mana to do that. I don't know if this is going to be good enough anymore, because it's like, this card dies the Bone Crusher Giant, you know what I mean? So, much like Chandra. But if you ever get this to flip, like, and it's an elf. Don't know if that's relevant or not, but yeah. In this format, it doesn't really see that much play in Pioneer for good reason, obviously, because, well, the 2 best decks go way over the top of this. Kytheon, on the other hand, is a 1-drop legend that's a 2/1. This card is no joke. It's a Savannah Lions. That's a legend. At the end of combat, if Kytheon, Hero of Akros, and at least 2 other creatures attacked this combat, exile Kytheon, then return him to the battlefield, transfer it under your control. 3, 1 white, 2 colorless. Kytheon gains indestructible until end of turn and turns into Gideon Battleforge. 3 starting loyalty, legendary planeswalker Gideon. +2, not 1, +2, up to 1 target creature an opponent controls attacks Gideon during its controller's next turn if able. +1 until your next turn, target creature gains indestructible, untap that creature. And then 0 until end of turn, Gideon becomes a 4/4 human soldier creature with indestructible that is still a planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. It is not hard to attack with 3 creatures in Explorer, period. It is really easy because the majority of the white creatures that are in Explorer cost 1. And the 2 drops are still good. The 3 drops are still good. If you ever flip Kytheon, good luck. You're not going to do very well here. And this all hinges on Explorer Anthologies 2 getting Brave the Elements and some of the stuff that Mono White doesn't have. But the majority of the white decks do have them. We have the majority of the deck. The main crux of it is Thalia and Thalia's Lieutenant. And some of the 3 drops. But not having Brave the Elements is a big deal. Which I did not add in here, but I should. I might download Brave the Elements. I just don't know what set it's from. Like, actually the original set it was from. Brave the Elements. It was originally from Zendikar, but it is also from... Oh, Magic 4. Magic 2000 or Core Set 2014 is where it was from. Okay. So, Gideon. So, those 5 flipwalkers, I think, match. I think Lily and Kytheon are the strongest on Arena, but I'm still going to jam JVP. Yeah, JVP is top notch. The 5 flipwalkers, I think, fit the fan favorite off the beaten path because they don't see a lot of play in Pioneer at the moment. Jace has been picking up popularity a little bit in a couple of decks in like the last couple of weeks. In only like 1 or 2 decks. Because he's really, really easy to kill. And the issue with what made Jace so good in Standard was the fetch lands were still in. Right? So it was really, really easy to go, like, you play something on 1, like a fetch land. Like, if you had 2 fetch lands, that's 2 cards in your graveyard. Then you play Jace. And then if you had anything that you drew a card like Opt, or I know there was a card that did this in that Standard, and then you just went that, and then you just waited for them to try to kill it, and then you tapped it in response, it exiles, comes into play as Jace on your turn. So we don't have the fetch lands, so like Jace is a lot less powerful now. But that doesn't mean that you can't get Jace online. Like, we have like strategic planning and a lot of other cards that put stuff in the graveyard. So it's not that hard. So like, for example, founding of the Third Path, right, is a card that is seeing play that helps Jace, right? So, don't be surprised to see, Jace see play in Explorer specifically, because, there's only really one deck that gives it Havoc, and that's Rakdos. But if you ever flip it against Rakdos, it's and actually get to use it, you're way ahead. All right, so the 5 flipwalkers fit that bill. The next card we're going to talk about, all right, needs to be in this drop. If it isn't, I'm going to riot. All right? Because there is no way that this card is not in. Baki, were you here when I was talking about the banned and restricted announcement? Or did you just show back up? Because I like went on like a 10, 15 minute. Girl, when was the last time you've riot? I'd love to see it. Listen, Nerdy Steve, don't get me started. All right. My hoodie might be on my floor. All right. Monastery Swiftspear. All right. I swear on all that is good and holy, sweet dread Cthulhu, good Lord. If this card is not in the damn drop, I swear I'm going to riot. All right. Aggro is getting his shit kicked out of it. And it needs some tools. And Swiftspear allows some stuff. All right. Yeah. Go to sleep. Oh, I'm here to get you started and to finish you. Good call. All right. Swiftspear is like, I never actually played with this. So I would love to just queue up Obosh Mono Red with Swiftspear. So you have Swiftspear, Phoenix Chick, Kumano, and Soulscar Mage. And you just go 21 drops and kill them. Yeah, I didn't really play then. That's another card that I forgot to add in here that I didn't think about was Dragon Score, or what's the counter spell? It costs 3, but if you reveal Silmagar Scorn, yeah. Where if you have a dragon, it's counter spell. Yeah. The card's really good. Yeah. All right. So Swiftspear gotta be in. If it's not, we're rioting. The next card I think needs to be in also, because the blue-red decks like literally have nothing, and that's Treasure Cruise. I said when Baki was AFK that during the BNR announcement, what I think should happen and what I want to happen are two different things, or rather, what I think will happen and what should happen, not what I think will happen or what I should happen. If I said that right. Nykthos is getting banned. I'm pretty sure. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. Like 65, 70%. I'm pretty sure that's getting banned on Monday. If you don't ban, so they could just ban Nykthos and that's it and see where the format lies. I think Rakdos is too good. The only issue is what you're going to ban, right? And the issue with the blue decks is you got rid of, in my opinion, when they banned Iteration, they did it swiftly and they shouldn't have. All right. And it's like, they weren't the best decks to be had anyway. And this was before Mono Green was like that good. And Rakdos was still untuned at the time. So they banned Iteration because it's like, oh, Phoenix is too good, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, like blue-white was a deck back then. Stop it. So, and blue-white's like a fucking tier 2.5 deck now. So I think if they're not going to ban another card, if they ban Nykthos, they need to unban something that gives Rakdos fits. So like Iteration or Field of the Dead. Problem is that you don't touch Greasefang, and that deck is secretly good, like sneaky good. Yeah, fuck playing against Phoenix, man. That deck is so good. So Treasure Cruise, like, yeah. No, my what I want to happen is I want them to, so the dream scenario for me in Pioneer, which also carries over to Explorer, is they ban Nykthos and they ban Thoughtseize. Not Fable, they ban Thoughtseize. This incidentally hits both the best decks after Nykthos. That's Rakdos and Greasefang. You get to keep Greasefang, but they don't get the best card to take your shit. Right? And the removal is still good against them. But if you ban Fable, you have to ban something from Greasefang too. But if you ban Thoughtseize, then you don't have to do that. And this way you don't have to unban anything. And now the format is basically level now. They're not going to do it. They're not banning Thoughtseize. Okay? I am a Thoughtseize player. But there is no reason why Black gets Thoughtseize, but like every deck doesn't get a 1-drop that does basically what Thoughtseize does for Rakdos and Greasefang. Like, that's ridiculous. So, all right, Brave the Elements is another card that I think should be in EA2, and that's it's a 1-white, choose a color. White creatures you control gain protection from chosen color until end of turn. This is the way to push through damage. All right. So, you know, you cast 1, you cast 2, you cast 3, and then on turn 4, you Brave the Elements and you kill them. All right. Against blue-white, this basically just says gain protection from white and you kill them. Because they just try to play Supreme Verdict and yeah. All right. Yeah, or flip Kytheon. One or the other. And against Rakdos, you're just kind of like, if you ever use this on, you know, when they like Bone Crusher Giant or they play like a 3 or a 4 and you just play Brave the Elements and they're just like caught with their pants down. Yeah. This card's very good. The mono white deck is actually very good. And giving Brave the Elements, I think, will actually allow, because we have most of the, if not all of the cards for mono white outside of Kytheon and this. We have, you know, Thalia's Lieutenant, Luminarch Aspirant, like all the good white cards, but we don't have this. And this, like, Brave the Elements alone is enough. So I think this should be in. This might actually see playing Historic too. I put this in my first EA, and it still stands the reason that this should be also in. Basically the cards that I said should be in that didn't get put in are basically in this. So like Sylvan Carrier, Bring to Light, and many other cards, which I didn't have in this folder. I just forgot to move it. But basically Sylvan Carrier or Bring to Light should be also in this drop, one or the other. If you could have both, it doesn't matter. Rakdos is too good anyway. But this basically does everything you want. Has hexproof, so they can't deal with it. Like they can't push it or any of that crap. And it blocks very well. So this card's like one of the best accelerators, especially for 5-color decks. So I would love to see this being in that drop. And it's from Theros, which means that they're not having any of the remastered sets, so anytime soon anyway. So we'll get this. A lot of the stuff that I added are like a lot of aggro tools to like fight against the mid-range decks outside of like Caryatid and some other stuff. Ghost Fireblade. I love me some Insole and some artifact shenanigans. Ghost Fireblade fits that bill where you play this on 1 and 2, it 95% of the time always costs 2 or costs 2 less. The equipped is 3, gives a creature +2/+2, but it only costs 1 if you target a colorless creature. So you put a couple of artifact aggro cards or a couple of artifact aggro decks like mono white or blue white or red white, and this is one of them with Patchwork Automaton and all the artifact 0s, 1s, and 2s with, you know, some of the all that glitters and many others many other things that go with it. Along with the artifact of Ghost Fireblade, which might also see some play in Historic, although there might be better things to do than that with this, is Springleaf Drum. And I've been asking for this card for what seems like an eternity, to give the artifact decks the ability to add multiple colors, and you don't have to play that stupid Jaspara Sentinel or Moonsnare prototype. We should be able to have Springleaf Drum. Gives implications a little bit to Historic, where they're probably playing this over Moonsnare, but who cares? Moonsnare is not just creatures, it's also artifacts, so you have to make some contingency or some sacrifices. But I think Springleaf Drum is something that could, give other decks something, and it gives aggro a way to produce more than just colorless mana. It can be any color. And the one land that I would add, oh yeah, it is much better than Moonsnare. The one land that I would add is Mana Confluence. I love the ability to produce any color mana, and good God, is Thran Portal fucking terrible. And this card, I'm surprised that they didn't. I know why they made Thran Portal, but like, it was for the domain shit, more probably for limited than anything else, but also for constructed. But good God, is that land terrible? Like, it's so bad. It's so infuriating. And Mana Confluence is, while obviously doesn't give you the mana, the land type, but mana is just much better in older formats. I get to make any color that I want, and I pay a life, and it gives aggro decks something to mess with. All decks, really. And that's the beauty of lands. Is the better the mana, the better the gameplay, and the happier everybody is, because the majority of the decks get to play with Mana Confluence. And good golly, is this going in every deck? Maybe not 4 of them, but definitely 2 of in most of my decks. Another card that needs to be in is this card. And this card is just very good. It helps Greasefang, yeah, but here's hoping ban Thoughtseize. But this deals with a lot. Does not deal with Leyline, but this is more for the green-black mid-range decks that are like, can we please get something that isn't a 2-for-1 that I can kill Graveyard Trespasser, for the love of God, and I don't have to spend 2 cards to do it. Jesus. I want to play with this because I never actually got to cast it, so I get to cast it with Founding of the Third Path, so, and get to play this and kill some Graveyard Trespassers along the way for 1-for-1s. This will definitely see play in Historic too, so a lot of the RTR cards would see play in multiple formats, so still sees play. Not as much play in Modern than it used to, but because they have like Prismatic Ending and, those kind of cards. But Abrupt Decay is still good. I think this is the next one that's a fan favorite off the beaten path because you don't see it that often, and that's Mantis Writer. This was like fan favorite, Jeskai staple, Jeskai Black, the 3-mana, 3/3 with just 3 easy to understand keywords. 1 Jeskai, 1 blue, 1 red, 1 white. 3/3 human monk. It's a human. Flying, vigilance, and haste. 3 very good keywords for a creature that still good to this day. Jeskai Black was so good. Still fun to play, and still Mantis Writer would probably see play today. Still, as a 3-drop 3/3 that has evasion, and it still deals damage, and it blocks well. Blocks Graveyard Trespasser very well, actually. So I will not be surprised if one of these cards that I've said that are fan favorites do not make it in. I think Mantis Writer is probably going to be one of the cards that actually makes it. Another one that I was surprised it wasn't in the first drop was Bloodsoaked Champion. I don't think black needs any more support, but Mono Black aggro was a very good deck, and the format was good when this was one of the better decks in the format. Bloodsoaked Champion is the best version of what it does, because black always has these 1-drops that come into play from the graveyard. And Bloodsoaked Champion is no exception. It can't block, but do black 1-drops ever block? Very rarely. 2/1, 1-drop human warrior. Good types. Raid. 1 black, 1 colorless. Return Bloodsoaked Champion from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only if you attack with a creature this turn. Yeah. Card's good. Makes aggro staple. Might actually see play in historical, though I'm not sure. Love to see Silmagar Drifting Death as the dragon creature. Here's the fan favorite, chat. This is my Siege Rhino. The fan favorite, off the beaten path. I would not be surprised if this is gonna be in. All right. Why not? There's no fetch lands. It doesn't see play in Pioneer. What are you talking about? Like, is it banned? Hold on. It's not banned in Pioneer, is it? Now you're gonna make me. No, it's not banned Pioneer. Now I'm gonna look. Because I thought I looked at this already. I am like 95% sure it's not banned Pioneer. Yeah, it's not banned in Pioneer. Yeah. It sees literally no play. All right. That's why I said it's off the beaten path. It's a fan favorite that literally only saw play because of fetch lands. It sees no play. It's from RTR, which is Return to Ravnica. It was the 1 mana Planeswalker as a creature, and it's a 1 hybrid. The hybrid is 1 black or 1 green. So if you are playing Golgari, you can cast this off a black or green. Elf Shaman 1/2. Tap. Exile a target land card from your graveyard. Add a mana of any color. And that's from any graveyard. So your opponent or you, and this with fetch lands was basically, it was a mana dork. Is essentially what it was. But there are no fetch lands in this format. None that play, put into play untapped on turn 1. 1 black, exile a target instant or sorcery from the graveyard. Each opponent loses 2 life. If you pay a green, tap, exile target creature card from your graveyard, you gain 2 life. Ironically, it doesn't say target card or target permanent, because I wish this said like one of those, so this could be good against Greasefang, but unfortunately it is not. So this sees like no play, and it might actually see play in Explorer, but I'm pretty sure it won't, because there's no fetch lands, and the best decks in the format basically eat this thing alive, and it doesn't really do anything against Greasefang, and it really doesn't do anything against anything else. It's not good against anything, which is why I said this is like basically my put in for what Siege Rhino was the last time. And then the last 5 cards for me or the last others are Rending Volley, the Rending Volley cycle from Dragons, from DTK. And all of these might actually see play. Rending Volley is basically the 1 and only one that really would see play. Aether Spouts from M15. Then that costs 5. That costs like a lot. Surge of Righteousness, I don't think would see play because there's something better than this. It's such a get 'em. You have Engulf the Shore from Shadows over Innistrad. You got Encased in Ice, which really wouldn't see play either. Self-Inflicted Wound might actually see play, even though it's a sorcery. And then Display of Dominance, nobody really plays this. So really Rending Volley. But I could see them putting all these in. Mono Blue Settle. Yeah, that's what Engulf the Shore is. But yeah, there's some other cards that you could put in here that I didn't put. Yeah, but the creatures don't get bounced. Wait, what? Hold on. I know it's attacking creatures, but now I'm wondering what it actually does. Aether Sprouts. For each attacking creature, its owner puts it at the top or the bottom of their library. Yeah. This card's actually good. It's pretty good. I like it. I'm about it. Yeah, put that in there. Who are all these people, bro? All right. But there are a couple other cards that you could put in here. Bring to Light. I specifically left Dreadbore out because fuck Rakdos. I don't think Dreadbore should be added until like the last part of it, until all the other decks are completed, because Rakdos is already good. And we're basically behind because Dreadbore is literally the, like, outside of Rending Volley, Dreadbore is it. That's the last card that they don't have. So fuck them. Enter the Infinite. That card costs like 10 mana to cast, right? $12. Yeah. All right. Let me know what you think on what cards should be added in the Explore Anthologies 2. Don't forget that Explore Anthologies 2 is before Shadows over Innistrad. All right, so we're getting Explore Anthologies 2 before January, sometime this year. Shadows over Innistrad will probably be in the middle part of 2023, so like April-ish, May-April timeframe. And don't expect any of those from Shadows or Eldritch Moon to be in Explore Anthologies 2. So like Thing in the Ice, Selfless Spirit, Spellcaller, like any of those cards, they're not going to be in EA2. Which is actually good because that means that we're going to get other cards from EA2. And I'm excited to see what they're going to put in here. But there are going to be at least 5 cards out of the 15 or however many they're going to be. And I expect that it's going to be 20 cards, not 25. Or it's going to be the lowest amount because they're already putting 300 cards from Shadows over Innistrad in. So they're going to put 5 cards that nobody wants in here. So like think of the 5 worst fucking cards. You know, like Tainted Remedy and Back to Nature and all those cards that don't fucking matter. They're going to be in EA2. There's going to be 5 of them. All right. At least 4. But like, there's going to be like 3 to 5 cards that are going to just be like, this is fucking trash. And they don't need to be in here. And then there's going to be like 10 very good cards, 10 to 12. And there's going to be like 3 off the beaten path cards. Deathrite Shaman is going to be the one that I'm like, this is probably going to be in there. Now there might be others like that I missed that I'm in other sets that I'm just not thinking about that are that fit that mold, like some Planeswalkers that I just missed. But yeah, like some Chandras or some Jaces or whatever. But I don't think there's very many of them because we're still missing like, I don't know, 1,000 cards out of the whole format. So don't forget to do the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. I don't know if we're going to do any gameplay YouTube stuff for, you know, the next couple of times, but whatever. I might change it up. All right. See you then.